A little preparation, but always doing it live. Stunna, that's what we specialize in here with me and Launders. Of course, map 2, the choice of Team Envy. Mohan, it's a little scary to think that Overpass, a map that Envy were willing to get into that third position versus Team 1 yesterday. You know, that means they're supposed to be comfortable, they're supposed to be competent, and outside of JDM today, we didn't quite see that gelling all together. So what happens when we find them on Mirage? Time to find out, folks. Immediately into the pistol, and it's Envy to the T side, sitting outside of ramp. Those smokes thrown. Okay, Ethan's gonna put this one to a quick close, so it seems. Cirque and Fugly activate, and it does just leave Kerrigan to try and clutch. Best 2 out of 3?
I guess, yeah. Are we live? Can we do best of 3 pistols? This is a scrim. And that was something I was wondering from the first map. If we ran it a full 30 round, or we ran it to first to 30, would we have seen Envy have a pretty decent T side? I think there were spots where our confidence in NRG wavered a bit, where Envy looked like they were getting back into it. But again, the conversation does come back to JDM and how good he was individualistically. Here, it's a pretty simple pistol round. You do open yourself up to a ton of angles when you come up the A ramp, so not surprised that with 4 players there and 3 on the CT side, that they just immediately got melted. Right side side smokes were not good enough, and even if there was a CT smoke, well, Ethan was playing triple.
MP9 up for Fugly. Gonna hear the flood of footsteps move past him. And because there's players swarming in all directions, he's gone ahead and given up this plant. Now, there was no other players within the bomb site, but the rotation's so hot on the heels of Envy that they don't really stand a chance. The only weapon retrieved would have been that MP9, and Cutler doesn't even have his paws on it. The knife is out, but Cirque, well, Cirque saves the day. Could have been a death, an additional one there for NRG, just the one casualty at the end of it. Defuse comes right through. At least Envy got their plant.
It could have been a big kill to get like $1,500, but as you mentioned, at least Envy get a plant, so there's a good amount of money here. JDM saved all of it from that previous round and will now turn it into an op almost certainly. I wonder if they focused the round around him. Again, we talked to Kerrigan, you know, he kept talking about Nifty and just how much they're going to focus on him as a player, and yep. I think he really believes in him as a talent, and for good reason. We know how good he can be and how versatile, how many roles he can play, almost every single one of them. So, but in this match, at least so far, and at this minor, it's been, for the most part, a JDM show. Now, individualistically speaking, we've even seen Cutler have great maps. The Drone did play well on Overpass. That helped them come back against Team 1. They light up the server, and they take turns doing it.
JDM finds Fugly, hiding in the corner of Arch. That's the op to open up shop immediately on this B-bomb site. They didn't really hesitate all too much. Sure, they walked and had the element of surprise, but this is a quick 5v3. Immediately, we're going to have NRG as well fall back for the save. So, all right, Envy on the board early.
Not a bad couple of entries. You can start out with a B hit, and as long as you can get in between the grenades, you're not going to have much trouble. It's the most difficult part about the B execution is actually getting out of the window, off the balcony, into the site. And once you do that, and you haven't lost a player at that point, the round is basically over for the CTs. It's so hard for them to use the site cover to their advantage when they can get pushed from either side. Empty pillar, which is the #1 spot that CTs fall back to, will easily be compromised with cap presence, or if players have jumped out of the halls, then just the peaks that come around the site, the player that'll eventually drift towards the market window to watch for rotators, he can get that trade no problem. So there was not a lot that NRG could do once JDM got that opening kill. And it was a good flash to assist him in doing so. So although it was a good pistol and subsequent anti-eco for NRG, Envy win the important round, the rifle here on T side. JDM is going to go knife out towards mid. I don't know if there's a smoke to support him. It doesn't seem like it. A dry peek at the window, and he misses the frag because the flash was too good.
Yep. If only Cirque had landed his shot, that would be the quick 5v4 for NRG, but not the case. Sniper going to have to rotate through the market, could go cat, could lock apps, and allow these CTs to push up if they will.
Yeah, fast connector control, and it's worked out quite well. NRG don't have a ton of presence at mid, and they've overstacked towards B because they lack information. If the push comes out too slowly, this is going to be a very effective crunch on Dabs, who might have to just sit behind a CT smoke and wait.
He's jumping around looking for that information. Additional utility tells him they are near. He's going to be blinded, spamming down drone to about 25 health. All of his teammates, other than Breeze, are actually right here by his side, so heavy CT presence from NRG. But now what? You can see the terrorists keeping their eyes elsewhere, trying to figure out where exactly the retake's coming in from. And that one sole mid player is down for the count. Did manage a frag off of the MP9, but it's not enough to convince NRG to really make this retake happen. They're going to give up the post plant.
Yeah, it might be for a couple of reasons. Not a lot of retake utility, maybe late to their positions. Didn't go ahead and secure the B app's presence to make sure that they had information to rotate safely or to make an informed decision about what site to stack. And Daps didn't get his kill when he was holding, even though he was playing it just patiently and almost got the spray off onto a crossing player. But NV do it with fast connector control. Looked very clean doing so. And we have seen some good T stuff from them. Not half surprised they were able to pull something like that off. Initially, starting off the round, having JDM lead out mid to take a shot into the window. NRG didn't put much presence there to stop him from doing that, and then they got all the way down cat almost immediately. So some kind of slower default could have resulted in NRG getting B app's control in response to the mid control that was taken from NV, and then using that to rotate back to A. But because they wasted no time, which we sometimes harp on teams for doing, they were able to get into A, and there was not a single player in the site.
Does it surprise you that there was so much B presence when Cirque clearly peeks window to some resistance, seeing at least two bodies at the top of mid, and then still just playing that position alone with Daps on ticket? Like, we had that B stack straight away, but personally I feel as though when you see so many bodies in mid, you'd at least have that fast connector push in mind.
They didn't know that it was going to be an A play, so they were just picking a side of the map to push to get information so they could rotate out. But you know, you see two people at mid, there's only so much that you can tell off of that. And honestly, it looked like by the way that Cutler was on cat, they were going to go B at first. But once again, they've got players who are posted up in the halls. Last round it was one at ramp, one in the halls. So Daps here could be a big plus if it is going to be another split, and Drone almost had the opportunity to take a duel with Ethan. I'm sure Ethan is looking for that one as well.
That flash bang blinding both the players in middle, and then getting Cirque to fire off the op. So a little bit of information. Team Envy not willing to hit that mid opper. Kerrigan clearing ramp, loses the duel versus Daps. In-game leader versus in-game leader. But Cirque removed, so op v op. We've got JDM with a further entry, and Nifty so swift down to the bottom of balcony, finding at least one kill. The trade train looking good for NRG, although at a health disadvantage.
Whoa, they're actually taking this back 40 seconds up, and the next site they come into will be the last one. So I don't know if they go back through apps. Well, it looks like they're gonna go into B, and all of the CTs are none the wiser for the moment. They might rotate over, but will they rotate with enough people and quickly enough? Cutler could have also catch somebody at mid. Breeze gets caught going into underpass. Ethan gets caught jumping out of the window, and Breeze comes back to try to trade it.
Right, he sees Cutler's head, dinks it first, and Fugly will help out. Now that's information even further for Envy, both counter-terrorists somewhere in mid. Obviously bomb plant to be prioritized, not willing to go for that cross and the chance that someone's watching from catwalk, and that would certainly be the case. In fact, Breeze is so close, Drone can't even find footing after he puts that bomb down. We've got JDM into the clutch. 2 kills to his name already. And the question is, where did Breeze get off to? Odds are he's crossed, and JDM seems to know this, confidently moving forward, clearing angle after angle, and then waiting. Quick scope, not good for the mark. Bomb so far gone now that Breeze is going to have to push forward. He needs this duel, and JDM's dancing around the pillars. Does die at the end of this. Gonna try and get this defuse. It will have enough time. It is NRG with the retake.
Wow, just barely. Nicely played from JDM. He almost got off that shot. I think he probably, looking back, could have probably scoped up, but it seemed like there was the round was over at that point. So Breeze cleans it up in the 1v1. And the initial entries on cat were huge. This was a pretty crazy trade back onto, I think, Nifty. Yeah, it looked like Nifty was totally prepared and then still won the duel versus Ethan. Breeze getting the last 2 kills in the 2v2 situation. So even quelling the threat, and the big threat, the larger than life threat that has been JDM in the series so far. Rough bout of it for Envy. They now move into this round with a buy up once again. The smoke is a little bit off, the smoke and window probably was influenced by a Molotov that could have landed in the corner. It seemed like JDM was ready to take the fight anyways, but now we'll have regretted peeking. 2 players at mid from the T's. Decent amount of map control here as Kerrigan lurks his way into connector.
And that constant threat of Nifty walking out from Palace, of course.
Oh, Kerrigan. He's almost at jungle.
Drone's almost up catwalk, but he's the first man to be caught. Ethan reveals himself, so Kerrigan goes ahead and activates for the frag. Daps, distracted by jungle, will pick up the opposite in-game leader. Nifty now silently comes swinging out, but does so slowly, and therefore dropped by the op. Seems as though NRG have got a 4th round unless Cutler lays it down. Now, he was someone who came into the second map versus Team 1 yesterday after, unimportant performance in the opening match, and then just, you could argue, kept them in the game. So my eyes are on him to see if he can kick up the form to join JDM.
Yeah, they definitely won a lot because he was able to hold long and be supportive towards Cad on Dust 2. He was playing not only with great aim like we just saw, but he also played a lot of the rounds out really smartly, and I think that was the highlight for me. But Envy lose that round, and it looked like NRG were in control of it for the most part. They had a lot more mid presence in the window and around Cat to kind of help versus the connector presence of Envy this time around. Kerrigan almost gets a successful lurk off, but Daps from a very, very familiar position ends up trading the kill. And then it's just basically dry peaks as a lot of information is gathered, but none of it capitalized on. Envy slowly push out onto the A site, get killed, and are going to be able to surmise another buy. Drone's not got a lot of money left over. I think they're still putting everything they have into this, however. We see the trades come out. Ethan just barely caught Drone, and yeah, Kerrigan goes ahead and gets 1 kill, but then doesn't anticipate that Daps will re-peek the from under balcony, but that was a risk he was willing to take, as we saw. Flashes out to mid to support Ethan, who wants to try to push up potentially, but once he sees his nades, I guess just has a change of heart.
Not the first failed boost we've seen.
Oh, will that be called from JDM? It seemed like he adjusted his crosshair to where Ethan's position was.
Definitely knew and knows now. Ethan with a little bit of cover continues to try and fight this. Drone, whoa, gotta be careful as he sticks out from those boxes. Cirque's op, a constant threat as well from Connector, but it is mid, left alone for NRG. They'll reposition all the while Cutler has gotten down into this B site. And this is an opening it's not the first time they've found. Fugly's going to be over towards Arch. Cirque watching the cross towards bench. So sure, we've got Team Envy out of the apartments and actually on this bomb site, but it's not like they have free roam. Not any easy footing. Into the 2v2. Cirque still waiting for an additional cross, but that's not the case. Both these terrorists down into the bomb site itself. Nifty by bench gives himself away with the trajectory, so Ethan should be able to figure that out. And obviously you have the bomb planter. Oh, Drone's not having any of that. Cirque, though, competent clutcher. He's going to come out from the marketplace, missing his initial op shot. But Nifty is still very much leaving Drone alone, jumps up to help, and finds the headshot instantaneously. There you go, folks. It's Envy slipping into the B-bomb site as a sole defender was there left to hold, and they are right back on the board.
All thanks to Cutler, who was able to find his way off the balcony and then push the Cat player into an awkward position where he didn't want to have to take that duel. Finally finding the trade that he needed on the site to get the 3v2 to allow his teammates to be escorted into the site, and they almost got caught crossing in the B apartments, but ultimately were able to get the bomb down and pull out a pretty clean 2v2. Very nice shot from Drone there in those final moments to really lock it in. And it's NRG who don't have much money now. Kind of a busted buy we saw from Envy last round where they had 2 Tech 9s, but they made the most of it. And ironically enough, still only have Galils here for 2 of the most important players of that round, but at the very least, NRG are in a much worse position. It's Daps who has not even armor, but just a CZ. Cirque pulls out the op, and that'll be a looming threat for them if they can't figure out where it is. But if they do, they should be able to have an easy round on their hands. Envy move out to underpass control, coupled with players at top mid. Smoke out on the window. That isn't disturbed by a Molotov from the CTs. And as we mentioned earlier, Daps is kind of taking care of window, only has a CZ and no armor.
So really swift reposition from Cirque, and that op this round fires a bullet in the apartments off of a flashbang from Envy. Tucks tail immediately over here to the A site. So potential to find Envy off guard, or they don't fall for his trap and they double back through Cat onto the B bomb site. If they do so, it is just Fugly with an MP9 in position.
I think they follow kills here. They might have the intention to go A, but with all this mid control, as we can see, they've got a claw grip on both window and connector. If JDM can find a kill in B, I'm sure they'll just change the strat up or try to hold position for a moment and see if the CTs respond. But at this moment, yeah, and with the lack of information, there's a lot of rotations going on. Players heard though. Daps rotates into the site, but we've got one man in halls.
I'm gonna have to find a way past Cirque. Could be Kerrigan on the duel. In fact, drone's tagged up. Ethan not fragged out by Cutler. Fugly's gone ahead and picked up the entirety of that push. 3 frags for him off of an MP9. What an anchor. And that, to me, Launders, is such a flashback to the days where we would see him still on this team playing quad on cash. You know, Fugly's one of those players. You just tuck him away, let him do his own thing, and he doesn't crumble under pressure. The numbers don't matter. Would have loved to see how he managed all of those kills, but regardless of how it happened, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it's a 3 kills, a round in the pocket, and Fugly makes us so much money, so much so that he can actually just get an op for himself. I don't even think he's going to drop it. No, he's probably going to be secondary opping along with Cirque on this round because of that. And it's a tech called for Envy as they scratch their heads and try to figure out what just happened. I think part of the problem was they committed to B when it looked like they were going to hold to try to get a kill first, and when they didn't get a kill, moved up on Cat, but didn't have a player to go through halls, and that's where Fugly was waiting. And it's such a strong position to be able to catch players off guard if they do have too much Cat presence, and it seemed like Envy were just not prepared for that threat in the slightest. Small lead here for NRG into round 9. Significant weapons advantage, but Envy are spending their money too. Mac-10 on the board, Galil on the board. It's not even as strong as that previous buy that netted them around where they had a lot of players go B apartments. They've not got a single AK here and have immediately chosen to go for what looks like an A hit. Whether it'll be contact or a full exec, we'll soon find out, but there it is, the players lining up the smokes. Flash is going over, Daps on the defensive.
And flashing for himself, the Galil's good for a double immediately. There's his 3rd, 4th, and almost an ace from Ethan. Daps is gonna help out. He gets the assist, so we'll give him 4.5.
Oh my goodness.
A couple bonus points for Ethan, just an utter lockdown there.
Doing what most can't do with the Galil.
Yeah.
That was a really nice spray. And also putting the extra 5 bullets to good use. Maximizing that spray potential. Solid hold overall. Envy try what was basically their pistol round, coming up A ramp with 4 players, and get picked completely apart. Low on utility, so we couldn't have had the full execute. Early smoke out to mid, but it's just Glocks here for Envy.
Glocks and Glocks alone. Gonna be force-fed into the M4 of Ethan. Again, just picking up some easy frags, cutting straight through Envy. 13 and 5 after a couple anti-ecos.
The 21st best player in the world.
Yeah, that's
this last year.
Yeah, just outside top 20.
I don't know if it makes it better or worse to be able to hear that.
Right, well, at least
he knows he wasn't 35th.
True, that's true. You know, you do know exactly where you stand, just outside of the cutoff mark.
It's surprising how much people, or how good people were guessing who was just outside of the realm of being in top 20. So I'm sure he heard or had a feeling himself, but still. Seeing why he was even considered in these past couple of rounds. Super sharp on the aim, and if the time comes, we'll see his individual ability in clutch situations as well. Very proficient rifler, and a huge reason that NRG are regarded as such a good team. What an adjustment from Breeze. Sometimes you just want to take your time. Line up a shot you know is yours.
No extra time given. Nifty's initial duel versus Daps also doesn't go well. Daps doing a good job with these forward A positionings. You know, he's locked down ramps a couple times. He's been, if it's not him himself taking that front line, he's supporting Ethan as seen in the previous anti-eco. One of those in-game leaders that doesn't really seem to get bogged down in the frag department, which is a key piece to success in 2019.
Oh my God, Envy's default completely picked apart. And there was opportunities there. Breeze turns that one kill that he probably should have been killed for peeking, or probably should have been killed on cap by Cutler, and takes that kill, turns it into another. Looked a lot more simple on his screen, but from Cutler's perspective, was absolutely nasty. Between 2 and 3K for Envy, as their lead has slipped dramatically. Saw one good B exec so far, but other than that, Envy have had full control, or NRG have had full control.
And Ethan not going to be fed the anti-eco this time. Just gets one before Cutler deegs him away. So that's an M4 picked up by Drone, but he's been left alone with that single flashbang thrown out already. Attempts to cut down numbers, great flash in fact. Hit all three of the CTs, but can't hit them with what counts. Those bullets, Launders, not enough downrange. 9th round for NRG, still on 3 is Envy. We're getting to the end of this first half.
Game's not over, and it's not as bad of a first half as we saw on Overpass, so maybe there's still hope for Envy. They at least got the pistol to pad their stats before we move into the second half. But here at round 13, there's going to be another buyout. They've got a bit more money in the bank, so it won't be so harsh if they get reset and decide to force again. But Cirque's lighting it up. Anti-Ecos look clean. Bomb plant, the only bit of solace there for Envy. And it's another fast round out mid. I think that this is something, you know, I can see why they're going back to it. Very successful at taking map control from this point on. Fast connector as they run up, and Daps is behind a smoke.
Spamming the damage through. Only Ethan with an additional kill, but Daps has grabbed one. That's Kerrigan. How many times has Daps actually killed Kerrigan specifically? It feels like at least 4 now. But it's a clutch situation. 2v2 environment. Daps takes the high road, and Envy stuck on the ground floor.
Oh, Nate could go huge at the moment. Oh, it does actually go over onto default, tags them both up.
Fugly's op over the shoulder. That's just going to buy more space for Daps, and he uses that space to win another round. I mean, the openings are there for Envy at times. The problem being, NRG don't die.
They don't die, and they do a lot of damage as the exec comes out, which I think some people will look at an exec on paper and they'll see, all right, they got out onto the site. Why did they lose? Well, the CTs still have a job to do, even if they're sitting behind smokes and Daps. You know, being able to find this damage helps the trades come out for his teammates, and then also ultimately getting a kill is a big deal. But not only that, even just having the attention of Kerrigan, who's trying to spam back into the smoke, he ends up being a threat, even though he can't see anything and ultimately can't guarantee that he'll get kills in. So all of the nade damage that you can do before the team can see you, and all the good spams and timings that you know you've been successful with in the past, all of those things add up when you're trying to defend against site executes, and NRG are hitting it when it comes to that.
Daps in the back of this bomb site, has a player just next to him in the firebox. It was Drone jumping upwards. Cirque, though, amidst the smoke, does find the bomb carrier at the very least. This slows down the execution and enables the rotate over. But there's a snake in the grass. Cutler at the B site. Might not actually get into the round fast enough if NRG continue to just trudge along. They're moving forward, really limiting Envy. But that's the timing right there. Cutler will take Breeze. Surely. Surely? Oh. Sally Susan.
Oh no.
Cirque missing the shot off the flash timing. It's not the first time Cutler's been killed like that.
Yeah, by Breeze.
Exactly. And Cirque actually swings wide with a single point of health. I mean, talk about salt in the wound. Almost hit there to his demise. Nifty will still have an attempt to clutch, but such low health. Buckley takes the attraction. Nifty's still just trying to isolate these duels, and NRG not running forward all the way. Cirque wallbangs him and denies any chance at a clutch for Nifty. Again, like we talked about, the executions are there, but the CT's doing enough damage, slowing down the plays. That's the point you just made, and we get another prime example.
Yeah, exactly. The residual effects of just being able to, like, you know, spam through the smokes, and some of that damage you never see, you never know if you get, but it's so important to just keep the pressure on, keep it constant, find any openings, and because there was so much aggression from the CTs and so much spam that came out as the execute was coming through, the bomb plant couldn't even go down. So the smokes came up, it's a 2v2, and suddenly there's NRG and Envy looking for a way to plant even just safely, even though they were able to get across the whole entire site. So unrelenting aggression from NRG here, even on the CT side. A lot of it successful. Envy on the back foot.
And then some. Lost another opening duel. Make that a double. Cirque 20-4, showing us his best impression of JDM on Overpass, taking this map in full control. And on top of it all, it's not just the one-man show like we saw in the opening map. No, we've got Ethan just there behind him. So two of the big pieces for NRG shining in the spotlight on Mirage.
Cirque going for extra credit, 20 kills, 120 ADR. There's still 3 players left, 3 scalps to take. Ooh, but it's actually his that'll be tooken. Nifty cleans his clock and actually opens up the round. So funny.
Tooken.
Tooken.
I tried to let it slide, Launders.
You never seen that Liam Neeson movie?
No, I just think I'm wearing I'm wearing off on you with all my made-up words. Let's see if Fugly can make up for the loss at that A bomb site. Doesn't seem so. Got an opening for Envy. Nifty with another headshot here in the 15th and final round of the first half. Breeze playing around Cat gets dinked. So yes, it's Nifty with more headshots, but this one doesn't transition to the kill. The 4th will. I mean, he's on for the ace. We saw JDM do it on Overpass, closing out the first half with the 5 frags. Can Nifty do it too? Doesn't expect Ethan to be so far, and there you have it. Knows exactly where Breeze is at. Off of the flash, will go for the peek, and there is where he dies. Breeze running forward now, has to play it quick, does have the kit, but where is Cutler? Tapping the bomb, and he's gonna go for the stick. No, Cutler, no, not like this. He will eventually get him off, but he's back on in time. Breeze with a defuse. NRG, the 12th round, and that is only 3 T-sided victories for Envy. They have their job set out for them as we do switch sides, folks. We will see you after halftime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second map of Envy versus NRG. And after that first half, I have to say, Team Envy, they may have their hands full.
Bold claim. It's definitely seemed like that.
Their mouths full, too.
Their mouths full, yes.
Here's Drone trying to lock back the apps. We've got the flash over the top, and we've got the tease in the bomb site. Now, he does have still a bit of a surprise there. His shots were silent, so they didn't seem to find him. Daps will, though, push straight forward and take that man advantage. Trade frags back and forth. Fugly plants at A. I fell for this fake as well, Launders.
Oh, yeah.
Take a gander at the radar. I am such a goof. But now at this point, Kerrigan's just trying to get the peek out from Fugly, and he will. But now what? Nifty to clutch. He does not have a kit currently on him, has 3 frags in the pistol round as he was working feverishly towards that B site. Nifty, however, gonna pick up a kit, goes for the stick, taps away to the brain of Fugly, and at least gets Envy a little saving grace. Okay, some wiggle room.
Some wiggle room. And at least because he sits on the bomb and doesn't move and has that lined up, it's hard to tell for Fugly if he's sticking it or not. Right. So the plant's not good enough. Nifty picks up 4 kills, shuts down the round not only in the clutch, but with this hold versus the fake. That's a pretty nice go of it from him, and those shots also looked pretty fantastic on the other side of the map, while the action ended up over at A. A second pistol in the map for Envy. It's 4 rounds in total. So you know they're not through the thick of it. An early push out, but because the plant, NRG, are totally fine losing that pistol, 3 AKs is going to be really hard to chew through. A bunch of SMGs here for Envy. I don't know how aware they are of the thought that NRG might be forcing up into this, but at least with the 5v4, they can now not be so frisky about pushing. Envy have earlier on, though, set it up so that Cutler can get information in A halls, and turning that corner is a whole different beast. There's a huge long lane where players could be waiting for you to go through that you might not want to deal with, but if it does come back to A, he's a great rotate back.
Yeah, and of course with JDM finding that AK over towards ramp, that's gonna probably be a red flag here. So anticipate Envy playing with a little bit more caution. Drone does deny Daps any control inside of the apps, and Kerrigan locks down Catwalk for only a moment. Ethan did try his best to puncture his way through, but of course the numbers game is the solution for Envy. They will have themselves a 5th round.
Yeah, maybe a small risk for them to invest so much into SMGs, but it pays off in dividends. They all get kills, and they therefore collect a lot of money. As we can see, Kerrigan killing a player with no head armor. That makes that the SMG duel look a little bit more viable. UMP fallen slightly out of the meta. I think there's like a lot more people favoring the MP9, but it's still got its place.
Oh, this is a big one. Going to charge straight at Cutler. Way too many targets to focus upon, but Nifty just gratatats into the palace, and nobody's going to stop him. Or will they? We have suddenly Daps with a burst fire frag, so it seems so many Glock shots in such a small time frame. However, Breeze is left alone.
So, I mean, I guess he didn't die. He's going to draw this one out a little bit longer. Might as well. If he can try to find another kill, it'll all be worthwhile. Big rotate back to mid. Kerrigan will try to cut off this pressure, and he will spot Breeze crossing. Don't know if that was easy for him to see or not, but he definitely had the angle, if only slightly. Though no one comes back. Yeah, he can see the door frame, but doesn't know what Breeze will do with it. It's just cleared underpass. There's no big rotate around. And he'll finally die coming through the market.
Yeah, CT's just in position with a second to spare to find him. So here we go. Can we take a Drone? Clean your mouse pad, man.
I think that's part of the pattern, maybe. I don't know if that's a QCK or if that's actually just. It might be part of the pattern. If it's not, it's really gross, but it might be part of the pattern. I don't know.
I think that's drone gunk.
Yeah, that could be a lot of skin cells, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll get confirmation after. I'll slap him in the back of the head if it is. We're friends, I could do that.
Like Simon's coach.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be a better player for it too.
Yeah.
Just like Perfecto.
Haven't seen any physical abuse here at the NA Minor, not yet. But the playoffs just begun. You know, maybe Chet, he's got that big notebook. Whoa.
Target's
ADM with
cut
a
across
gun.
the screen.
Volley in, extinguished. Frag down, lob forward, 0 damage.
Paying close attention to this 5v4. NRG have a prime opportunity now to get right back in the driver's seat. Dedicated players are fine. They don't have vision on window. It's not too late to compromise that either. Oh, but Nifty picks up the off from JDM, and Kerrigan is very careful about the way he sprays. Make sure to take Ethan down. Doesn't overflick or freak out.
Does create a problem, though, for NRG now. They've lost that man advantage. Breeze does still have some forward footing into the A-bomb site. Cutler gonna spot him charging towards the spawn and uses the pillar to keep himself alive. Now Drone denies the bomb plant and things go from bad to worse for NRG. They had the opening, but Team Envy don't lose a single body after turning that one to the 4v5.
Yeah, that's an ultra successful round. You know, losing one player could be a big problem, but they adjust in the nick of time, and Nifty hits a clean shot. Everybody holds their positions, deny the B split, and even Breeze isn't able to catch off Cutler one more time, which, you know, he has done many times so far in this game. Molotov down to just distort the smoke that could come his way, but NRG don't have enough money to even warrant that this early on into a pistol. Ethan and Breeze have the utility. There's a lot of T's at mid, and Dabs comes out with an insane CZ headshot on JDM. But will that be enough?
So far, so good. They're starting to envelop the A site. Cirque has an op. And he has hit many shots already so far in this series, but Drone will start to equalize this. That's over at the B bomb site. A still looks all right for NRG. They do need to find a way to get Cutler out of this position, though, and he is going to be flanked, simultaneously hit by the Deagle and the Opper. Nifty back towards Ticket. He's going to have his hands full. Could just fall off long enough for the wraparound by Drone, but he is eons away.
Oh my goodness. Thought they actually regained control of the round. Looked like another one where they bring it back after losing man advantage, but with the bomb down in this position, Cirque able to threaten the murder hole, and the big flank that is also accounted for. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get anything out of this. Drone does reroute into Palace, so maybe he can grab a couple of free frags. Basically no chance for him to actually win the round, however.
Bomb's planted out into the open. Does have a smoke flash, but Daps, I mean, I thought maybe the Opera gets in, maybe the AK on Breeze. No, just Daps ripping heads off with his Deagle.
Oh man, that one's stolen back in such a bad way. Similar to what we saw in Overpass, where NB started to climb back into it, but this one's a little bit earlier. This is before NB have really proven themselves on CT side. They'll call a pause. They've got one more after this in the half. But I think, you know, there couldn't be a better time to do it. They're about to buy up. Nifty has purchased an op. I don't know if anybody's dropping him. Maybe Kerrigan can put down an M4 so that he can hand that over to JDM. But I just saw JDM buy an MP9, so it looks like they're going to compromise on Cutler's buy instead. And here on the CT side, just go balls to the wall. Mid-control, a looming threat. I mean, like that is just really, really rough. And Kerrigan fluffs a spray there on Cirque. Could have been an easy early way back in. And then Cirque takes the AWP he finds and turns it into 2. The 1D was just for fun.
I hope Daps feels bad about that.
I have a feeling he doesn't.
He'd still apologize.
He's a nice guy.
Kerrigan to the top of middle. Oh, playing with fate. There are weapons pointed towards him, but he's gone. Back into the safety of his connector. No pressure from underpass yet. There is the possibility of that. Fugly actually in the apartments hoping for a push. But mid has been left in the hands of NRG. Envy is going to let them make their play.
So you can give up mid, but yeah, here's JDM who has to be aware and can potentially get up on ticket or just spot connector from CT side. It's Kerrigan who's in a very tenuous spot. If he dies, that'll be rough, and they can play a 5v5 retake a lot more easily with him still up, playing passively from CT spawn. Then they can't take him taking first contact, but JDM does his part of the job.
Cutler even manages not the best distance for said MP9. Does die to Ethan. Double entry, nifty, swift movement through the murder hole. Just slides straight through. Keeping it cool. But the bomb will go down regardless of his best efforts. Plenty of utility here for both these teams. If frag grenades are enough for you. NRG have that positioning on ticket. And Envy, well, they're going to use this Molotov to try and figure out where exactly the T's have gotten off to. There's no movement based on the molly. Fugly anticipates the walk up from Drone, and now Nifty's going to have to do one better. 2 frags for him, needed in the clutch, spamming off of the op as the time ticks away, and so does he. Fugly, not going to let him escape. Not even going to bring a second op. They're just going to play with the one of Ethan.
5 kills between him and Fugly, or him and Ethan. That's a fantastic round where they bullied their way into a passive CT setup that seemed to be fully aware of the threat of kind of this connector pressure. But look at that, Ethan's 2K to match the one of Cutler's with the long-range MP9, and when all the dust is settled and it's a 2v2, it's a pretty strong after plant. And they have no trouble bringing it home. Pistols here for Envy. They're saving so that they can buy and play against 8 match points, but it probably makes more sense to do that than to try to put together a buy with this. Mirage is a very tough map. You lose one person, rotations become a whole lot more hectic. Same can be said for a lot of maps, but some of these rotations are so incredibly long.
Kerrigan's flank could be good. Oh, he jumps the gun. Breeze flying, soaring through the skies. Fugly is going to go ahead and deny Nifty on the underpass push. So, I mean, there was 2 attempts here from Envy. You got Kerrigan's flank, and you've got that potential creep up from Nifty, neither of which will net them a kill. So,
yeah,
good luck.
It's tough. I mean, like, in that previous round, you know, Envy's setup wasn't all that bad. Yeah, Kerrigan dies in the window, but he probably has a fair fight once they get the 5v4. He just can't win his duel, and sometimes it has come down to frags in those moments. NRG setups they're clean, they're simple, they're taking mid control, they're working their way into A, similar to how Envy did on the one successful round they had on T side. But no, NRG's just got more of it. They've got more of it. They've got more consistency. They've got more firepower.
Yep.
And I'm sure on certain days, a lot of the players that Envy have can match up with some of the NRG players, but NRG with just so much synergy, right?
Yeah.
So just being comfortable, knowing what your team's going to do in a round can help you focus on your crosshair more so than where to look or where smokes are going to land or what you have to do. And it seems like that might be coming into play because Envy's stars are not shining.
You know, we often talk about the gap between a team like Astralis and the rest of the Counter-Strike world. Well, this is an example of NRG showing us the gap between them and the remainder of the teams here at this minor. They are 1 round away to moving into the last best of 3 flawlessly, still having not given up a map loss.
I do think that Furia could be a really, really interesting bout for them if they win their match after this.
That, of course, being versus Ince, the Brazilian Bonanza. Next in line, queued up here at the NA Minor. But NRG are just going to let Team Envy wiggle around and squirm as they wait out this execution. They've got that mid control for free, smoking window.
And they actually have the palace push, so this is pretty much as good as a passive setup will get. Nifty, is he going to go through the smoke? It looks like he just wants to cross over to stairs, find safety. Ethan will flash into him and cross out.
Yeah, whoa, Nifty. Activated on the 3K spray down. Give him an inch and the man will take a mile. Cirque, though, could still bring it back. Does have the help of Daps, who has thrown himself out from ramp and now sits under Palace. Kerrigan, however, I believe that's right through smoke, or he goes for the aggressive push. We were distracted with the tease that we didn't get to see it, but all we know is that Envy have won another round. That's what matters. 7 more rounds to go, just to force OT. He
could have got pre-fired by Breeze, but I think just that shot through the smoke alerted Nifty into just spamming wildly and everybody crossing out a connector. Got absolutely melted. I was thinking that even if if Envy employed a really passive setup there, that they would have been in an okay position, especially to defend A because they had Palace, but we didn't see that necessarily come into play. Unbelievable. I've never seen someone get hit by a smoke jumping to Cat. That's ridiculous. Another small thing, you think people would be strong enough to be able to get hit by something like that and continue on with like some momentum?
Nope. Drop dead.
It does make for funnier Looney Tune moments.
Because of that, we actually have NRG just throwing their way up in mid. You know, Cutler could have tried to held it from connector. We'll have to go back into the windowsill. We'll have support from Kerrigan, just currently standing next to the ladder. Cirque's got ample support, and Kerrigan loses his. Cutler caught off by Fugly. Flashbang means Kerrigan has to look away, does still reposition his crosshair fast enough to catch the head, and then Nifty and Drone also on the kill feed. That's 3 separate 1 versus 1s, all of which picked up by Envy. Do we have NRG clawing their way back into the round? It's going to have to be rather swift. 40 seconds to go. And Cirque knows Kerrigan's now down in window. That opens up an avenue on the map, but it doesn't solve the biggest issue of not having that bomb.
Recollecting that will be a test. I think with the amount of time remaining, they might even think about saving early. Yeah, they're officially just pushing out to Cat to look for safe positions, and JDM could take a fight if he'd like to, but a pretty solid round for Envy. The way that NRG play these rounds out, they default, they get pretty spread out, but they stay in communication like they're just on opposite sides of a spider web. And ultimately, I think they tried to just contract on the CTs once they get thinned out enough and have enough map control. And there, Envy deal with all of these kind of peripheral threats on their own. Nifty also making a good push through A to get information when they lose mid control again. And they have been successful at finding the correct choke point to push when mid control is compromised. So that's been a plus for them. Again, on that previous round where Nifty goes huge, they still had so much control at A that you'd think even if the NRG come out of connector, they could still lose trying to put the bomb down with that split going on. So not a bad couple of rounds for Envy. NRG's money hasn't been completely chewed through, however. They've got another buy for us.
Actually could find some spacing because we've got Nifty moving into connector just as Fugly feels out Palace. Cutler will manage the headshot, and then Daps is sectioned off from the rest of his team. But Breeze saves Cirque, who would have been found scoped in. Cirque trades straight away, and all the while, Ethan, he's going to win the duels in mid. It's Drone to have to clutch. Smoked off at the current moment, bomb will most certainly be planted, and Ethan seems ready for it. Drone does go back for the spray down, but Cirque has just enough time to pick up that final frag and give NRG the 2-0 they needed to move forward into that winner's best of 3. One best of 3 separates them from a spot at the Katowice Minor.
They're well on their way, and it wasn't a terribly surprising result. Obviously, Envy losing 2-0. It did come a little bit closer in some of these rounds where we saw spots of brilliance from Envy, but ultimately NRG had control of the situation as we thought they might. So that was a good effort. What can you say? Good effort. They'll move on to play the loser of Furia and Ince.
Right.
Next match we're casting.
Exactly. That's the beauty of today. Nobody goes home. Nobody goes forward. We're just figuring out how the dust falls. But we're going to go ahead and put this show back into the soft feminine hands of Stunna on the desk.